Welcome everyone to another edition of AFX Insiders. I am really excited about uh, the people and the technology that we are going to be talking to today, and the company. I have been pushing for this for weeks, and uh, I'm joined today, Eric Thorson, which is head of client relationship management, and Browning Mink at head of sales with TaxStatus. So, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us on.
Man, for those of you that attended our conference in Nashville, Browning and the team were not able to come because they had a prior engagement, and I think we had literally just signed our contract maybe
Oh, yeah.
2 days before. So we were pushing under, to get everything done and get everyone there, but they did join virtually, and so the goal of this is to introduce, reintroduce, uh, and support a piece of technology, or call it what you want, in fintech space. You know, what I think is kind of one of the most critical pieces of fintech that is there. So, Eric, tell us a little bit about tax status
Yeah, absolutely. I
and
really appreciate
maybe
you.
history, and just where you guys land in the sphere of must have technology.
Absolutely. Well, and I really appreciate you starting that way because I think that this truly is must-have technology. Just to give you a little bit of background, we are really the only company of its kind in the marketplace today from a full system perspective. And what we do, for those that aren't familiar, is using client consent, which is really key here, takes about 60 seconds. We establish a direct connection to the IRS. And what that does is allow for what we're really focusing on is verified financials. And we're seeing RIAs really come in and use that to drive deeper relationships, onboard more efficiently, identify custodial accounts, businesses, where there's a lot of opportunity, right? And then look at all of the assets and liabilities, really use that information to help move things forward with clients and prospects. From a background perspective, we are an 8-year-old company, started in 2017. But we're really based off of about 40 years of domain knowledge and experience. All of our professional staff, not Browning and myself, we have strengths in other areas, of course, but all of our professional staff are retired IRS agents. And our founder went through and interviewed thousands of people to gather kind of all the information and background needed to work with the IRS, which I'm sure doesn't surprise anybody is a fairly antiquated system. But we now have over 400 customers, ranging from single RIAs to some of the largest broker dealers in the United States. And then maybe just last point I'll note is that we did bring on Kevin Knoll as our CEO last year, who is probably most well known for taking Money Guide Pro up to its exit to Envestnet. And also brought in professionals like Browning, right, that really understand the space, that have the background, and allow us to continue driving kind of all this forward. So sort of a mouthful, happy to dive into a little bit more about the differentiation, but that's the genesis of the company.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I know when we started down this road with you, met your team, saw the experience that was there. We knew that um, we needed to try to be early into this into
Yeah.
this. And I've read articles, and I've seen LinkedIn reports where we I've always kind of loved the fintech space, but what is really prevalent to me is, in this world that we live in, customers now don't differentiate between, oh, you do advice, and you know uh, tax information is not part of the plan, or access to the data. Early on, it was all about how can I aggregate into planning software, but now clients have 13 to 15 different logins with your iPhone on, even strong passwords, to the point where I don't even know 90% of the passwords I use today. So, like, how could I've always looked at tax status as there were pieces of information in my days as a financial professional that we wanted and would go to great lengths to get.
Right.
And now I can get that in about 60 seconds,
Yeah.
but not just get it, have it in ways that I can use it, review it, always know that I know the customer, because we are part of a revolution called the fiduciary.
You are the fiduciary advisor.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we would talk to advisors. They're like, the opportunities to know what customers have and where they have it, but much less real information. And so tell me a little bit about just the integration with that IRS and kind of how that separates you, because I know when you're using planning software, there are some integrations, but boy, it's hard. There's, like I said, some software is integration is where a good independent advisor can go to die, because you're trying to get all this data and it's just hard.
Yes. Some providers are just using uploads of tax returns and they're using OCR to read it. And that comes with froth with some errors. You're having to go back and correct and really put some eyeballs on that to make sure that it is right. Tax returns themselves are faulty. Like 30% of tax returns are not accurate. And so client reported data even isn't holistic. Not that they're trying to hide anything necessarily, although they typically have 2 or 3 advisors or more. That might make them uncomfortable, but they also just have trouble remembering all of that.
Mhm.
And that's what you see with the aggregator software too. So your Yodelies and your Plaids, they're going to ask you to input, as you were saying, your account credentials and remember them and make sure you never change them for that to be up to date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it's still important to have that, only because the aggregator software is going to give you the most up-to-date information for positions and holdings. We complement that really well because we create the place for you to start. So here are the accounts we need to go get those credentials. Here are the accounts that we know of. Maybe you can fill in the gaps if there's something that we don't know of based on what the IRS knows of you.
Yeah.
But a much better starting place.
And Billy, I think you hit the nail on the head where, if in order to really effectively do the roles that you're providing to clients, having access to the data is king, right? And so just to talk a little bit about the maybe differentiation, with that 60-second consent process that you've outlined, we can do everything electronically. So it replaces all of the wet signature and faxes that people were running into. But the scope of data is up to 10 years looking backwards for individuals, trust estates, partnerships, as well as 3 years of forward-looking consent. And so that allows us to pull in new records as they become available. Everything is direct from the IRS, right? So there's no opportunity, as Browning mentioned, to forget data or,
Pretty good source of truth, I would have to say.
Exactly. Source of truth is exactly what we use.
Anything and you just start thinking about the things that the tax return touches.
Yep,
Partnership,
exactly. The scope, I think when people see
anything
it,
that there's an interest on.
yeah,
Anything there's
yep.
your loan documents, your property tax, it's just everything. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
Well,
then we also have that alerting capability to be able to let you know when things occur and change.
mhm.
So, there's so much information, to your point, that having it in, we'll say, bite-sized pieces and things that are most pertinent to the advisor is a key part of what we do as well in working with.